borderland person from Juarez. My grandparents are from the Sierra Madre, but they immigrated to the border in a chain of who they are, who they were. Be sure that their children don't look like an Indian, don't wear huaraches, don't let their hair like an Indian, because it was a way of surviving. And when I grew up and I started to say, wait a minute, I'm brown, I mean, as much as they told me, you're like an Indian, yes, yeah. So those confusions, I know that to all our new generation started to come up. And digging into my roots, I decided to go and look to my roots, to the south of Mexico, because the border, it never will happen on that time. I mean, I'm talking about like the initial 80s when there wasn't options at the border and the other side in Juarez. Barely the academic stance, but a lot of confusions there. So when I went to the south and it's like, hey, English, to me English represents oppression, it was kind of digging into where we come from, why we're here. So when I went to the south, the people, the community there were telling me, you're from the north, you're norteña, you should go back. There is your cause of the north. So I didn't know exactly where should I fit. But then after a long journey, I decided to come back. After I learned from elders there, some aspects of Carlos just mentioned about the natural way of being a human being, right? Without telling me this is tradition or this is indigenous, or because indigenous people, they don't say I'm indigenous. They don't have to claim that identity. It's their daily life. But then even in Mexico, the discrimination were there because the colonization and us as mestizos. So I was really clear on my identity. I'm mestiza and I have to defend my Spanish language. We're not Spanglish, we're not pirate here in the border. I have to be clear Spanish, because that was my language. When I was there, I discovered that Spanish was not even my language. But then when I started to come back, okay, I'm gonna embrace that I speak well Spanish, I can defend, I can just use it as a means of communication. And I had to heal that battle with languages and understanding that it's a matter of communication. But those are aspects that were politicized, politizados, because of power, of course. So, being in the border now on this side, as an immigrant, being from the borderland, now what, no? And looking at all my communities there and trying to understand all that trauma, historical intergenerational trauma. Where do we go? What do we have to do? If we don't know exactly our roots. And it wasn't until I found the community here, the Spreaker community in El Paso, that they were here before I left. I never met them. So it took me like all that long journey to meet them and see that here in my town, or here in town, something renewed. They were renewing or recovering that narrative. So now is the time when I started to understand, because I get into these other struggles to, okay, let's decolonize education. Oh, no. Now indigenize. Now those are buzzwords, right? Indigenize, decolonize. So I started to understand that it's a matter of how do we walk into this motherland, into how do we behave with Mother Nature, with ourselves, with our relatives, with our kids, our elders. It's a matter of relationship. And that's why I really like the idea to come into a circle, because those are natural ways to walk. So our path, there's a way to awake, to reconnect, and recover who are where we come from. But also, I understood also now that we're working and we found this school that Carlos mentioned, the schools, elementary, little kinders are learning in a natural way, no matter what are their color, no matter their background. We have Japanese background students, we have African American, we have Navajo students, and most of them are Chicano Mexican, but they don't think about it. They just playing around and crying and discussing, having the growing together. That's how. That's when we said, okay, who are you? What is your identity? I'm a human being. And why you are using these concepts, Mesoamerica, to create these pedagogical tools in the school? So do you mean that only Mexicans can come to you? No. Why everybody can come? Okay, so let's start to say Mesoamerican. Those are ancestral knowledge that we're bringing into the table, taking out from the museums. Those are tools, are living tools for us, documents that are walking and living. So that's why now it's better to say, well, those are ancestral, that ancestral knowledge that we are embracing to understand each other and to expand it. That message means a message, right? So I'm a borderland person, coming from the Raramuri people, but also I'm a human being.